Hi, I'm Ryan McNeil. I'm here on the streets of downtown Toronto. Downtown you see tons of buskers, and buskers are just people who perform on the street for money. As a trained musician myself, I figured it can't be that hard to make a couple extra bucks while busking, so I've set out with a goal to make $100 while busking, and you're gonna join me. So, without further ado, let's see how it goes.
Despite being a drummer, I couldn't bring my whole drum set on public transit, so I needed something a little more portable. Although for some reason, it wasn't working. I needed to think outside the box.
So I made a grand total of $3.05. I'm still $96.95 away from my goal. Harder than I thought. I'm gonna go talk to some experts and see if they can give me some tips on how to get the rest of my money. All right, let's go.
For some expert advice, I reached out to professional busker Mo Guzman and professor of sociology Danita Kagan for their perspectives on how I can reach my goal.
Well, the first thing I think the general public wouldn't know about busking is that busking can be a full-time sustainable gig or job depending on how you treat it. And it just really depends on how much effort you're willing to put into it, and that'll directly affect what you receive.
How do you kind of cultivate this idea that you're a charismatic performer? How do you create that kind of illusion or reality? Or how do you believe that? You will see buskers kind of wearing like almost like suits and like a top hat, and a busker who's wearing a suit will give a different impression of respect than a busker like, you know, a gruffy looking busker who's bucket drumming.
So I'm back downtown. We're gonna try this again. I brought some drum stuff this time. Let's see how it goes.
So, I don't own a suit, and despite being told that bucket drumming may not work, bucket drumming allowed an easy and portable way for me to perform on the street with an instrument I was comfortable with. And it kinda worked.
You know, a way that you could cultivate an audience, a wider audience, was to have plants distributed in the audience, responding to what you're doing, and they generate. So people then see other people responding, like, oh, they're clapping or they're doing things, you know, and then they respond in kind. So you're not just in your own world. Sometimes that also is an impression that people have, like you see a drummer that's kind of lost in this sort of almost spiritual ecstasy of it, and that's contagious too.
Okay, so in total, I made $27.30 and a lighter. So it isn't $100, but it's also not nothing. We were out here for a couple hours. I'm exhausted. And, you know, at the end of the day, my return was only $30. So I'm gonna go buy 30 more lighters.
Well, in the end, I didn't reach my goal. I did get to try something new, make some new friends, and gain a fresh perspective on what busking is, and see how it's so much more than just playing music on the street.
There is a general perception of buskers as vagrants, people who are mentally unwell or homeless. The honest truth is that yes, some buskers do fall under this category. However, a small handful of buskers who treat it as a full-time job and put effort into having a professional look and setup can do very well for themselves.
Almost as like countercultural rebels. Like they don't own the means of production. They're not like music execs. They're almost kind of on their own terms. So they're reclaiming the public space. So they're doing something that's kind of like, you know, social class revolutionary maybe, I don't know.
It really isn't about the monetary amount. It's about the fact that someone took the time and gave you their attention for that brief moment.
Maybe had I put a little bit more energy into my setup or gone out wearing a suit, I would have had an easier time reaching my goal. It just goes to show how much planning and effort go into being a compelling busker. Now that you see that busking is so much more than meets the eye, hopefully the next time you see a busker, you donate. Because you never know who's trying to make $100 or more. Probably more. You get the point.